Good morning and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Today's show made possible by Manscaped. If you need a Father's Day gift for yourself or for your own dad, try Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Cowboys over at manscaped.com. We will get into the Dalvin Cook situation as it relates to Dallas, but first, if you guys want a second Cowboys video today, maybe some minicamp update, since that will finish up today, then share today's video. Bosses said if we can get 20 shares, we can do a second Cowboys video. So help us out. Get another video out today. Share this one. Let's dive in then to the Dalvin Cook situation. The Vikings plan to release Dalvin Cook if they cannot trade him by Friday. Now, I've always said this before, but it was very clear today, even more, it was outright reported. In general, when you hear team has had trade interest on player, means they haven't had trade interest. And that is quite literally what is happening here with Dalvin Cook. The report is from NFL Network. They're going to release him on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, if they cannot trade him. So one last-ditch effort of somebody please trade for Dalvin Cook. Maybe they'll even take a Zadarius Smith-style pick swap there. Now, this is important in light of the report the other day from Darren Wolfson, a Vikings beat reporter, who also said the Vikings weren't going to cut Dalvin Cook because they would try to trade him first, which, it's what's happening, I guess, but made it sound like it wasn't going to happen, the cut, at least that week. He says Dallas is another team that has internally kicked around the option of adding Dalvin. Now, I have no doubts about that. It is your job as a franchise to kick around a bunch of different options. Frankly, we don't hear about the vast majority of various conversations that happen in an NFL building because, hey, you know that they're just like us, right? They like talking and gossiping and all that stuff. So I have no doubts that it's been kicked around, but they were not going to trade for him. The Cowboys would have owed about $11 million, barring a contract adjustment from Dalvin Cook or the Vikings, if they were to trade for him. It's not happening. No chance of that happening. It doesn't make financial sense. Now, when he gets cut, yes, I am interested. Because I think Dalvin Cook on a one-year deal that's $5 million, $4 million, I think can certainly help you. Now, the Cowboys were not immediately linked by ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Broncos and Dolphins were linked. And allegedly, the Dolphins and Vikings were close to a trade for Dalvin Cook earlier this offseason. Ooh, but then the Dolphins drafted Devon Achane in round 3, so maybe they don't need to go that route anymore. We're going to spend a lot more time here on Dalvin Cook, some of the pros and the cons, but the pinned comments of today's show. Would you sign Dalvin Cook? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for us, especially if the ad break comes here on YouTube. In the end, this will come down to the money. I do think the Cowboys have some interest in Dalvin Cook. Not to trade for him, but if there's not much of a market for a player who I do think is on the decline, then yeah, I think Dallas would have some interest. They'll do their due diligence, right? A notable player has been cut. You owe it to your team to look into that potential route. Now, the issue is for Dalvin Cook, he's not the same guy he was in his prime. The 2019, 2020 campaigns, or even maybe more 2020 campaign where you averaged 5.1 yards per carry, it's not what he's been the past few years. And you see the decline on screen, right? The yards have gone down a little bit. Most importantly, the averages have gone down significantly. 5.1 yards per carry, 4.7 yards per carry, 4.4. That's not great. And I do think at some level, maybe you'd just be better off investing that $4 or $5 million in another offensive lineman if you can find one. And that'll make life easier on your running backs. But if, God forbid, Tony Pollard goes down, knock on wood, how much faith do we have in a Deuce Vaughn, in a Ronald Jones, in a Malik Davis, Rico Hunter Lipke? There is some untapped upside there, make no mistake, but Dalvin Cook is much more proven than all those guys combined are, frankly, from their statistical output. So I do have interest. The money's got to get sorted out. If he wants to sign cheap, yeah, let's do it. But I'm not going to break the bank for RB1B or so because you're already paying Tony Pollard $10 million. Your franchise tag hit or the cap hit right now at the running back spot is, I believe, 8th among all teams. That will drop once the Vikings officially cut Dalvin Cook, so they'll be like 7th, actually. Yeah, not sure that's the best way about building an organization. Now, it is almost Father's Day, and you forgot to get your dad something, didn't you? It's okay. It happens. It's Father's Day. It's not as important as Mother's Day, I suppose, but you can get the Performance Package 4.0 for your dad or yourself if you want to be a daddy in the near future. Manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. The most comfortable boxers known to mankind, the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker 2.0. Could be super helpful for your dad or your granddad or maybe your uncle or somebody who just desperately needs it in your life. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Cowboys over at Manscaped.com. The link and, of course, the promo code are in the description and the comment section of today's show. It's the ultimate Father's Day gift, so get one today. Manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. We'll actually stick with the Vikings, strangely enough here. Danielle Hunter. NFL Network says the Vikings are getting trade calls on Hunter and are listening, and I've seen questions about, what about the Cowboys? So we'll break it down. I think much less likely than Dalvin Cook is, to be clear up front. Hunter's in the last year of his deal, and as we'll get into more in depth, he's cheap. Not really actually cheap, because he wants a contract extension. That's the issue, right? Vikings traded away Zadarius Smith. Hunter had a bad neck injury in 2020, missed the entire season, missed some time in 2021, but he's been a pretty consistent double-digit sack guy over the course of his NFL career. I don't know if the peak prime Danielle Hunter is what you're going to get anymore, but he's still a damn good pass rusher. He'd probably be your second best pass rusher, emphasis on pass rusher, not just defensive end, but in terms of getting after quarterback, probably be second best on your team. Probably over Tank Lawrence, over Dorrance Armstrong, Sam Williams. I'd still take Tank because of the run stopping, but pure pass rush, it'd be Hunter. The issue is, well, you got to pay him. And you have the money to do it if you want to be clear. You got $20 million in salary cap space right now. And Hunter only counts $5.5 million. So you might see some sites say, it's only $5.5 million. Why doesn't so-and-so do it? Because it's not really $5.5. The whole deal is he wants a new contract. That's why the Vikings are listening to offers, because they have not gotten the contract extension done yet at this stage. So he's cheap in terms of the cap hit, but he needs a new deal. And you have to pay Micah Parsons in the near future. You got to pay Trayvon Diggs, or you want to pay Trayvon Diggs at least. You have to pay CeeDee Lamb. The way the Cowboys do business, compared to, say, the Rams or the Saints, is they're going to earmark that $20 million and not spend it on a player like Danielle Hunter. So, would you guys trade for him if you ran the Dallas Cowboys? If you were suddenly a Jones child and you were running the organization, would you trade for him? T for trade or P for pass? Go ahead and sound off in the comment section. Let's hit the Zack Martin injury. Air quotes again, like for the CeeDee Lamb one. He has not participated at Cowboys OTAs or in minicamp so far, dealing with what he calls a minor soft tissue injury. So I bet like a hamstring or a quad or something like that. I'm not overly concerned here because it's June. If you were to power rank the players that, hey, they don't need OTAs, minicamp, or even most of training camp, wouldn't Zack Martin be like number 1 or number 2 or 3 on that list? Like he'd be pretty high up there because it's Zack Martin. We know he's really good at football. He doesn't need reps. He's old now. He's at that point in his career. Like he's just a reliable vet. You don't have to worry about him being out there. Here's what Martin had to say, quote, "I'm fine. I had a little thing, a little soft tissue. So we're just being smart, making sure I get to training camp feeling good, feeling ready to rock." In the meantime, without Zack Martin, Josh Ball and TJ Bass have been getting run at right guard. I do think, by the way, that if you're getting work at right guard behind Zack Martin, with left guard being such a giant question mark, I do wonder if that means, in particular for Josh Ball, if maybe you're a little bit further behind the status of the other guys battling for a roster spot because you're not taking Zack Martin's job this year. Make sure you guys don't miss any Dallas Cowboys YouTube video. Sub and turn those noties on if you want, and we can do that second video today. We'll have mini camp winners and losers later on in the week, and we'll also have coverage of all the Cowboys preseason games this year. Those have now been released. The official dates and times all on Saturday, August 12th, 5 p.m. Eastern. They host the Jacksonville Jags. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence plays. August 19th at the Seattle Seahawks, a 10 p.m. Eastern game. And no Texans this year. Instead, home against the Las Vegas Raiders. F. Mitch in the comments section. 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see if Tyler breaks his laptop again during the Seahawks preseason game. One last news note to hit here. The Cowboys have hired a new nerd. John Park, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts, has been poached. He is now the Cowboys' Director of Strategic Football Operations. He was previously the Director of Football Research. This is as near as I can gather, the head analytical role for the Dallas Cowboys. I've talked to some people who follow the Colts closely, who are have the sources there, or in the media, etc. And I've talked to some of the other nerds I know in football, and everyone said, really good hire. So I will relay that to you and say I have not heard of John Park before, and I hope it ends up working great. I guess in the end, if it's a bad hire or a good hire, probably won't know because they don't play on the actual field and they don't get the credit or the blame that much. But John Park is your new Director of Strategic Football Operations in Dallas.